Today I'm building a layered wavy backdrop. If you ever wonder how these are made or wanted to build one yourself, stick around. I'm breaking it all down, step by step. For this build, I'll be making a 7 feet tall version. But if you are working with a different design or need something more compact, a 6 feet version follows exactly the same process. If you want to learn more, I have created a mini course with tutorials where I go even more into details. Very DIY friendly, and I have included a PDF there as well. You will find them below this video. For this build, I'll be using birch plywood for the base layer and MDF sheet for the wavy layer. MDF is easy to work with. It's available at places like Home Depot, Lowe's or any local hardwood dealers. I will start with a standard 4x8 sheet, trimming it down to 7 feet and 3.5 feet wide. For cutting, I'm gonna use my Makita track saw with guide tracks. But if you don't have one, don't worry, there are alternatives. Track saw are great, but they cost around $700 to $800. If that's not in your budget, a circular saw, which is about $100, works too. Just make sure to use straight edge guide to keep your cuts clean. Okay, now comes the fun part, creating the wavy design. Use a measuring tape to mark every 7 inches both the length and width. Then grab a square and draw straight guidelines at each mark. To get smooth consistent waves, I use a large metal woodworking compass, not the tiny one from the math class. This one is serious. You can find one on Amazon for about $15 to $20. I'm gonna have link under this video. Set the compass to 7 inches, which gives you a 14 radius for curves, and start drawing circles across the board. Start in one corner, draw a circle, skip a line and draw the next one. The goal is to create flowing wave pattern with no weird gaps or overlaps. Now I need to make sure I have a wavy pattern flow seamlessly across the board. The edge can get tricky, so I use a small scrap piece of MDF to extend the drawing surface, ensuring everything stays aligned. Next, I adjust my compass and draw smaller circles inside the larger ones. Now that I have my design, I'll cut it out using jigsaw with scroll blade. The scroll blade is thin, which makes cutting smooth curves way easier. If your blade is sharp, it should feel like slicing through the butter. Here is the process. Start by cutting along the outer curves. Work slowly and follow your marked line carefully. Use a vacuum to clear away dust so you can actually see what you are doing. Don't stress if you messed up. You can always refine and fix your mistakes with sandpaper. Once the wavy shape is cut, it's time for some final sanding. I usually start with about 80 grit to refine the edges because it's so aggressive and fast, then switch to 120 grit for smoother finish. A power sander speeds this up, and you can grab one for about $50 to $60. Okay, it's time for a base layer. This piece should be the same size as the first one, 7 feet by 3.5 feet. I'm going to lay the wavy layer flat on ground, apply my favorite woodworking glue, Titebond 3. It gives more working time, doesn't dry too fast. I will carefully place the second layer on top and align the edges. Nail it together using a brad nailer, but this is important. Nail from the back, so there are no visible holes on the front. You don't have to spend time wood filling it later on. Now I'm gonna trim the second layer to match the wavy pattern. For this, I'll be using a router with a flash trim bit. This follows the shape of the wavy layer and makes a perfect copy. No extra measuring needed. If you want to make this backdrop more portable, I will cut it in half and gonna make it collapsible. Before cutting, add support inside. This keeps everything aligned. These hinges I'm using, I'm getting them from Amazon in bulk. It's much better deal than buying them from a hardware store. I'll leave link under this video. Once all of the hinges secured, the backdrop folds up easily for transport. And that's it, a layered wavy backdrop, perfect for events, photo shoots, or adding some style to any space. If you found this tutorial helpful, subscribe for more content like this and leave me a comment.